Now, I'm going to let you hear a little bit of Blake Snell and what he had to say about risking his health in coming back and that there's a money aspect to this.
If I'm going to play, I should be getting the money I signed to be getting paid. I should not be getting half of what I'm getting paid because the season's cut in half, on top of a 33% cut of the half that's already there. On top of that, it's getting taxed. So imagine how much I'm actually making to play. You know what I'm saying?
So he attached money to this. Is he saying there's an amount that he would come back and play for? That's where I have a problem with this. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to risk this health-wise, I certainly understand that, and I applaud him. But is this just about, I want to get full pay for half a season? Then I have a problem with that. Now, another thing. I don't like that Major League Baseball and the owners put this out in the media. This should have been handled behind closed doors between the Players Association and the owners and the commissioner. In good faith, that's what they should be doing, certainly with these times. Blake Snell is now the face of this. Now, you had other players. Bryce Harper came out and backed him. Let me see what Bryce had to say. Nolan Arenado also came out and said, you know what, we should have kept it in private. A lot of things we heard from the owners are through the media. I don't know what's true and what's not. Hardest part, it sounds like everyone has an idea of what the owners are talking about. I feel like the Players Association and the players mostly doing a good job of that, keeping it between us. I feel like that we've been pretty quiet. Some guys have voiced their opinions, and that's okay. They have the right to do that. Bryce Harper said that, hey, this guy's just telling the truth, and you got to respect him for doing that. Let's see, what is, he ain't lying. He's speaking the truth, bro. That's what Harper said. I ain't mad at him. Somebody's got to say it. At least he manned up and said it. Good for him. I love Snell. Guy's a beast, one of the best lefties in the game. Well, it's one thing to say, look, I admire him. He manned up. Do you agree with him? Does Bryce Harper agree, hey, I don't want to come back for half the salary? If the players want to get paid their full salaries to come back, or it's not worth the risk, now we have a real debate going on here.
Dan, moments ago, the I-Team heard this in the studio. Happy birthday, Dan. Happy birthday, Dan. And then I heard, the I-Team heard, I should say, not me. Blank, you've already ruined my birthday. Dan, would you like to elaborate?
Oh, this is painful.
Go ahead.
You know who I normally hear from first?
On your birthday?
Yeah.
Not me. I try to get in early, but...
Now, you're usually the last one. Oh. And I have to remind you it's my birthday. McLovin, I don't expect. He's got other things on his
tradition.
Mind. Seton O'Connor, first in line.
He always is or was today?
No, he was today.
Oh.
You know who's always first? Sometimes even the day before? Todd Fritz.
Not this year?
No.
I let you down.
No, it's disappointing. Disappointing.
I want to bum you out already this early. Just getting started.
Yeah, you know, when I saw Seton and it was a nice note, really a nice note, and I went, that's a nice note. Where's Todd's note? I don't want it from you, but when I don't get it, I'm disappointed. And that's what happened, Todd.
Great expectations. Was that Charles Dickens?
Yeah, Paul.
We have more on this story because Todd was up late last night. I got a text from him that woke me up at after 11 p.m., Clayton Kershaw calling in today. So he was awake and it was about to become your birthday.
There were opportunities there, like leading up to midnight. I was up probably till about 1:30 in the morning, and I had a window to definitely be first.
But I don't know if this was a choice that you made.
It was not a choice. I was trying to pick my spot. Yeah, I always get teased for being the first, that I'm very competitive, that I got to be the first one to exchange pleasantries. So I kind of put the brakes on that. I held back.
Oh, so you did this on purpose?
No, actually, I didn't. I just didn't.
Did you forget, Todd?
I didn't forget, and I don't forget because I write down
what
everything
is
anyway.
It? You either did it on purpose or you forgot.
I didn't forget. I just chose. I didn't forget. I just chose not to send it at midnight.
Oh, I don't want.
Are you walking?
He's leaving. He's leaving already. We have to do a show.
He's going back
on a meet Friday, no less.
Yeah, he's going back to that little office of his.
Can't walk out like that.
That was a door slam.
Got 3 hours. Entertain a nation here.
Is it a choice or?
He's the great Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher, joining us on the program. Good morning, Clayton. How are you?
Hey, good, guys. How are y'all?
What are you doing all day?
Just feeding babies.
Is that
Uh,
is that Cooper?
yeah, this is our newest. He's 4 months now, and yeah, man, we're doing good. We're just kind of hanging. We're trying to do a little school with the older two, and I'm kind of working out and throwing when I can, and then it's really about it.
Give him a little airtime here. Let me see
There,
Coop there.
there he is. This is his debut, guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Left-handed, right-handed? Do we know yet?
Tough to tell. But we'll see. He's been a good kid, so he's a third kid, so he knows he's got to be good.
You know what? And you know this. After the first one, you take all the precautions, you do all the right things, and then the second one, you ease off a little bit. By the time you get to the third, and when we got to our fourth, we're like, whatever. That pacifier falls out. How long was it on the floor? Stick it back in your mouth. You're good.
100%.
All right, so who do you work out with at home?
Just me. Yeah, just hang out. And then I have there's one guy here that I throw with every day, and yeah, man, I feel like I'll be ready, whenever this thing gets going. If it does, I feel like I'll be in a good spot. So it's it sounds optimistic, right? Everybody seems to keep talking about it like it might happen. So that's exciting.
How long do you need to get ready? If I said do you need to know the date for the start of the season for you to then go through your routine to get ready for the start of a season?
I mean, that would be nice, to have the start date, but I think they're proposing like a 30-man roster potentially, so that you don't have to build up quite as much when that happens. You only need 4 or 5 innings really to start the season if you have 30 guys on board. And then, and so, I mean, with extra 30 guys, I mean, you probably only need 2 or 3 weeks to be my guess.
But how much contact are you having with, whether it's manager with Dave Roberts or the Players Association? Like, who is your voice here to help you understand what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I talked with Doc. Nobody really knows. We're all just kind of in a holding pattern as far as, what the season might look like, just because, everything changes week to week, month to month with what's going on right now. So nobody really knows for sure. Obviously the MLB just sent over that proposal that we're looking over, I think, right now and having to talk about it soon. But nobody really knows. No one knows what it's going to look like yet.
What did you make of Blake Snell's comments?
Blake, you know what? He was a little bold, obviously. Hey, Dan, I need to give this guy up real quick.
Okay, all right. I hope you gave him to your wife. I don't know.
I just see this right here. Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
I think it was probably a little bold in what he said, but I think where he's coming from, we've already made a pay concession. We're going to get paid prorated based on the season. So we play 81 games where we get half our pay. We agreed to that already, and I know guys kind of felt like that was what we decided, as a union. And obviously with no fans changes things, I guess, for some owners, but we're still playing the same game. We're still playing baseball. We still agreed to our salaries based on that. So all I can say about everything is if it deems medically that we're able to play and we can't figure out the business side of it between the two sides, it's not going to look good on anybody. Yeah. So if we do figure out medically, I'm pretty optimistic that we can play.
Well, how concerned are you about that with your health? I mean, the conversations you have with your wife.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's obviously risk involved anytime, but there's also risk just going outside any day. And there's a lot of people smarter than me, thankfully, figuring this stuff out as far as what is protocol for what's going forward and how to do this baseball stuff. And bottom line is, I think the majority of us want to play. We want to play and we want to be out there. And for whatever small bit it is, it's probably helpful to the country to see some sports. I know I'm tired of watching PGA golf reruns over and over again. So I think, we want to do it. And if somebody smarter than us says that we can do it, I think, I'd be on board for sure.
And listening to Blake Snell, and I said, if you really are worried about your health and you don't want to play this year, you're not going to get paid, and that's your stance, then that's fine. I applaud you. I mean, it's everybody's individual choice here. The tricky part, though, Clayton, is what if the medical community says it's safe, the Players Association deems it safe, the commissioner deems it safe, and you still don't want to go back? What happens to that player or those players who say, we still don't want to go back?
Yeah. Well, like you said, I think it'll still be their choice. And I don't think that's going to be I might be naive in this, but I don't feel like that's going to be the vast majority of players. You might have a few guys that have like some serious health issues within the family, or some people that they just can't take the chance of being around and playing baseball, and totally get that. But hopeful that the vast majority of people can play and feel good about it.
He's Clayton Kershaw, the Dodgers pitcher. You got your hat on here. Can you take?
You don't want to see that.
Oh yeah, come on. Is it Bryce Harper like? Yes. Is this Bryce Harper like?
It's just I sleep on this side. I don't sleep on this. I sleep right here. So it was a good night of sleep.
I think you just added about 2 inches to your height here with that hat there.
That's great.
Now wait, does your wife who cuts your hair?
Well, nobody right now, obviously, but I don't get a lot of haircuts. I kind of let it go for the season, and then just kind of cut it up at the end of the season and go from there. But I have my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law has cut my hair before plenty of times. So if I get desperate enough, I'll make that happen.
Isn't it great though? You get to wear a hat to work. Like you're an adult and you get to wear a hat to work every day.
I know. Shorts and t-shirts every day. It's awesome.
You got a baseball near you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Always.
Okay. Is this an important baseball you have there, or is that like a memento of anything?
Well, I got a ration. This is a brand new Pearl, and I got a ration right now playing catch because I only have so many left, and I don't know how much longer, so I got to make sure this lasts, but that's about it.
Okay. Can you show us some of the grips that you have?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Now, I remember Harold Reynolds did something on Baseball Tonight, and it was on Johan Santana. And he said, this is what hitters see. The arm slot delivery for a changeup and a fastball looked exact. And Harold Reynolds matched up 2 pictures. He said, tell me which one's a fastball and which one's a changeup. Now you know how difficult it is when you're facing great pitchers. Do you ever have pictures of your arm slot that says, that's my changeup, that's my fastball, and then make sure that they mirror each other?
Well, not the changeup, because I don't know how to throw one of those. But I think that's any good pitcher. I think they all kind of look the same coming out of your hand, and then they do different things. So I guess the number one rule in pitching is to make everything look as similar as possible, and then as long as possible, and then at the end it moves differently. So nothing should change about your arm slot or your arm angle or anything. It's just the grip of the pitches and how you release it.
All right, so show me the fastball, the grip of the fastball.
All right, so I hold it like this with the horseshoe on this side, and a lot of guys hold it like this with the I just did it again with the horseshoe on this side, but for me, I hold the horseshoe right there and just straight across, 4-seam fastball. I don't know how to throw a 2-seam fastball, so I just throw that.
Okay. Now, if you're throwing your breaking ball.
So curveball, you take this seam right here. Let's see. It's hard to do it on Zoom, kind of. And then middle finger right there. And then a lot of guys do different stuff with their index finger. Some spike it, some point it straight up. I think Eric Gagne did it like this, and a lot of guys are doing this now. But me, I just throw a pretty standard curveball, and this one's just kind of along for the ride. All the pressure's right there. The thumb is on that seam, and then you just pull down like as hard as you can.
But if I'm looking at that, I see your finger up.
Yeah.
Aren't you tipping your?
That would be, yes, I guess in theory, but that would be pretty tough to see. I feel like because your arm's moving so fast at that point by the time it come out of your glove. But I mean, guys, if you're at second base, you can see a spike if you hold it in your glove the wrong way. And so guys get tips that way. So you got to kind of cover it up with your glove.
Can you tell when somebody at second base is telling somebody at home plate what's coming?
Nah, sometimes if they're really bad at it, but most of the time, no.
So if they say breaking ball, then you know that they're probably bad at it?
I would get that, yeah. I would figure that out.
Can you throw a knuckleball?
No, no, like 1 out of 10, I can get it to do something, but I think they do it like that. I think R.A. Dickey, I was like he did that, I think, and just kind of like pushes it.
I'm still amazed with it. I asked Phil Necro about it, and he shows you.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then I hate playing catch with somebody who throws a knuckleball because they think it's funny that you're getting, hitting the knee or hitting the groin or whatever. And
Charlie, we have Charlie Huff around still, and Charlie Charlie can still do it. He can still just fire knuckleballs at you. It's amazing.
But I'm just fascinated, though, that the difference in how guys hold a baseball and how much pressure you add to a baseball and how light. It's almost like a golf swing. You know, that guys sometimes will grab it, grip it too tight. Can you grip it too light or too strongly?
I don't know. I always grip everything pretty firmly. I don't know. I just always, I don't have a loose grip on anything. That's probably why I don't throw a change up very well. But what's funny is that you talk to guys and whoever has the best of whatever, you talk to different guys about their changeups or different guys about their sliders, and you want to see their grip because you're like, that's how they do it. They have a different, it's the same grip. Everybody has the same stuff. It's just how their arm works, how it moves, how it comes out of their hand. Like the grip is almost irrelevant to some extent. And it's just, over the years, you want to see how guys hold different things, but there's very few times that the grip is just like, oh, that's it. That's what changed my career,
Did anybody try to change your windup?
No, I mean, I've kind of had the same, over the years, I think I've paused a little bit more at the bottom, and then, I do that stupid thing out of the stretch where I lift my hands up real high.
Wait, you acknowledge it's stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb, but now I can't get rid of it. And, it's like part of it now. So I can't not do it.
Oh gosh. Well, hey, it's great to talk to you. Hopefully we get some baseball played. And more importantly, good luck with Cooper there.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Clayton. That's Clayton Kershaw, Dodgers pitcher. Let me go to Millie in Oregon. Good morning, Millie. How are you?
Hi, I'm Millie, 4'5", 75 pounds.
All right. Well, welcome, Millie.
I just want to say happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Millie, and tell your dad thank you for calling in as well. What are you doing today?
I'm eating breakfast.
Oh, you're eating breakfast. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Millie, and thank you very much.
My birthday's in 2 days.
Oh, that's great. What do you want for your birthday?
Fantastic show.
Oh, well, you know what? It almost sounded like your dad said that. So maybe your dad wants some DP show gear, and tell Dad that I'll do him for him.
Well, I watch your guys' show every morning with my dad.
Oh, that's sweet. Who do you like the most on the show?
You.
Oh, well, that's the right answer, Millie. Stay on hold, okay? And I'm going to have Marvin take all your information, and we're going to send you out some DP show stuff for your birthday.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. That's Millie in Oregon. Thank you, Millie. He's the pot stirrer. He's Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live co-host, former NFL quarterback, and Chris joins us now. Lo and behold, I start to, go to Pro Football Talk and read down some stories, and then I go, wait, what's this Russell Wilson rumor? And did the rumor start with you, Chris, that the Seahawks were entertaining the idea of trading him to the Cleveland Browns 2 years ago?
Well, I do believe it started with me, or, I don't know if it started with me. And again, listen, this is something that I know. This is not a rumor. This is something that I found out about, I'm going to say not long after the 2018 NFL draft from some people close to the situation, and then had it confirmed on the other side by the other team involved in it, to where, I've made a mention of this during last season, Dan, and it got no traction. I was like, damn, I just let out some breaking news and nobody said anything. And then it just came out organically again here this past week. We were talking about untradeable players and what we call PFT-OT with Mike Florio. And, we went, Russell Wilson is one of those untradeable players. And I brought it up again. And I said, hey, the rumors that are out there are the things that I understand. I shouldn't say rumor. What I know is that, yes, there was talks a little bit between Cleveland and Seattle, and Cleveland giving that first pick of the draft for Russell Wilson. I don't know who struck up the conversation. I would imagine it was Seattle. I mean, it makes sense. Again, Seattle, they were debating on, did they want to make Russell Wilson the highest paid player in football? And I think also added to that, hey, they have an incentive to build the team the way they did originally with Russell Wilson. They saw, hey, if we can get a quarterback on a rookie contract and build it through our running game and our defense, that was successful them one time around already before. So I just think, it was something that was thrown out there. I don't know how serious it ever got, but I do know that that was a very real conversation.
And I understand the philosophy behind the Seahawks, and I agree with you. I mentioned that if you can start over again at that position and build your team like they did when they had the Legion of Boom, that makes a lot of sense. The biggest question I have is, who was Seattle going to take with that number 1 overall pick, Chris?
I don't know this for sure. Okay. Like but I've been led to believe it was Josh Allen. That's what I was led to believe, that Seattle had their eye on that, which
Wow.
makes sense too, because he has a little of that Russell Wilson-ish quality, right? Where, hey, obviously it's a little raw still with Josh Allen, but got some big time ability. And I think they probably looked at it like, hey, we can get this guy to hand the ball off, take a few deep shots down the field. He'll scramble and make a few plays every now and then. So that makes sense, but I can't confirm that aspect of it, Dan. I don't know that for sure.
I think Russell Wilson ends his career with another team. What do you think?
I wouldn't be shocked. I think that's a very real possibility. Especially, if Pete Carroll and John Schneider are still there. I mean, to the point that you made just a minute ago, I think they have a true belief in that. And honestly, Dan, I'm not so sure the NFL is not going to go this way a little bit anyways. Who are the Rams negotiating against to give Jared Goff $33.5 million? Or some of these other contracts that are being thrown out there? They're negotiating against themselves. And with the influx of talent we see at the quarterback position every year now, and football being so popular for so long, and our best athletes want to play quarterback, I would think at some point the quarterback market is going to come down to reality a little bit. To me, it's gotten crazy. Some of these quarterbacks are making 8 and 9 times more money than some of the best players that are also on their team. And I wanted to say, Jared Goff is not 8 times better than, Robert Woods, who plays wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I never understood that. The next guy up doesn't deserve to be the how did the owners finally got around to saying, we're not going to give guaranteed money to, first round draft picks. We'd give $50 million to Sam Bradford, who hadn't proven himself. To me, it was crazy. They finally, got slotted and, made some sense here. At what point do the owners just say, we're not, now I know that sounds collusion, probably is, but we're just not paying the next man up. He's not going to be the highest paid quarterback in the game.
That I agree. I have this conversation with my coach friends all the time, Dan, and I think they do. They look at owners and some GMs a little bit to go like, hey, at what point are we going to draw a line in the sand? Like nobody on the edge of a D, or nobody should the next guy up, right? Let's just say with Aaron Donald. Like, I don't care if he's the next guy up and he's really good. Nobody's as good as Aaron Donald, so nobody should be paid more than that on the defensive side of the ball until they can claim they're better than Aaron Donald. And that's the same thing on the offensive side of the ball. I know it's going to be Patrick Mahomes here soon at some point, but like to me, hey, Dak Prescott, I love Dak Prescott. Carson Wentz, hey, I love him too. But like Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson should be the market setters, and nobody gets paid more than those two at the position until you prove that you're better than them. And Deshaun Watson and Mahomes are very close to doing that, or Mahomes already has, and they will get paid. But to me, those are the only guys that should jump them.
But that's part of the problem with Dak Prescott's negotiations here is, hey, what we want to get paid, and we don't want to sign a deal where we're going to be embarrassed by what Deshaun Watson gets and Patrick Mahomes gets. And he's not in Patrick Mahomes' category, and you can make the argument he's not in Deshaun Watson's category.
Agreed.
But if you keep saying, hey, I want to be the next guy up, but don't embarrass me when all of a sudden these other guys get their contracts here. I'm also curious what happens to the quarterback after Patrick Mahomes. What is he asking for?
Well, exactly right. I think Mahomes has a chance to kind of blow the market, into another stratosphere to where that might happen, like to what you're talking about. That next guy up, I think there might be a line drawn in the sand that finally says, no, like, let's get real. You're not Patrick Mahomes, whoever you are, and we're not going to pay you that much money. I'm with you, because what are we going to do? Start getting into like $45-48 million a year for the quarterback position here in the next 2 years? Because I would expect Mahomes gets something within the low 40s per
Yeah.
year type average when he does sign.
We're talking to Chris Sims, Pro Football Talk Live, co-host the story with James Harrison, the Steelers, and Mike Tomlin. Did Mike Tomlin hand him an envelope full of money? Was it a check? Did he write out a check? Did he pay his fine when he hit the Cleveland Browns wide receiver here? Was he joking a little bit? I don't know. I don't know what to make of this, Chris, because he's put Mike Tomlin. Well, I think he's trying to compliment Mike Tomlin as being a player's coach, and he's got your back ultimately. He's put him in a pretty delicate situation here. What do you do if you're the NFL?
The NFL is in a tough spot here. There's no doubt about it, and I'm sure that they're going to probably try to take some action. I would think, I don't know what that would be, some sort of fine on the Pittsburgh Steelers or maybe Mike Tomlin. But yeah, James Harrison, I agree with you. I think he was trying to show something positive about Mike Tomlin, and it backfired, and now it makes the Steelers and Mike Tomlin look not that good. Here's the simple reality of this situation. I don't give a damn. I'm glad. I hope Mike Tomlin did pay his fine. Who the hell cares? This has been going on in the NFL since the 80s. I was on teams where I saw this happen, not necessarily coaches paying, but players who were making a lot of big money. Oh, this guy got, a huge fine from the hit. And if the defensive guys thought, it wasn't that bad and we like to play that style, they'd pony up some money and help that guy out to pay that fine. So it's a very common thing for this to happen in the NFL. I mean, I know Joe Montana did it back with the Kansas City Chiefs with Neil Smith. I've heard him tell that story. So this is something that goes on. It's just the first time I think we've heard a head coach being implicated in it. And Mike Tomlin's in a tough spot here.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton would be really interested in what the NFL does.
Exactly. No doubt about it.
The Cam Newton phenomenon. I don't know if everybody has been this interested in Cam Newton for a long time, but it feels like every talk show host, every analyst somehow has this newfound love, seeking out information for Cam Newton. Like we really, you know what it is though, and we know what's behind the curtain. It's like, this is a great talking point. Cam Newton's a great talking point. I don't know if people really care. If he doesn't go to the Patriots, I don't know if anybody really cares in our business about Cam Newton that way. If he goes to the Patriots, now we have talking points again for another couple of weeks. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't think the New England Patriots is going to happen. I don't. I would be shocked. Just my history of knowing New England, being there, knowing Josh McDaniels, and playing for him in Denver. They're very big into, hey, we're framing our team in the offseason, and this is our quarterback, and we're framing the offense around him, and for him to be the leader of our football team and all those things, to where I just don't imagine them going down that road with Cam Newton and opening up that can of worms of Stidham versus Cam Newton and all those things. And also, I don't think New England's necessarily built for Cam Newton's skill set either. But I'm fascinated by Cam Newton too, because as we all know, right? I mean, when he's healthy, he's a special football player. And right now, it looks like he's going to be relegated to being a backup quarterback. And my big thing is, Dan, who the hell's going to even want to sign him as a backup quarterback? Because he's a threat.
Yeah.
There's only going to be certain quarterbacks that can handle Cam Newton looking over their shoulder every day in practice and everything like that. And I think that's truly like Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, maybe Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, I know you throw rifles all over the field. Look at my rifle. Zing, zing, zing. And they won't be threatened by it. But a lot of these quarterbacks, I think, Dan, this will be a huge issue, and it can disrupt your team, because when you walk off the field every day, players in the locker room are going to go, damn, did you see Cam Newton today? He looked a lot better than our starter. Maybe we should start him. And that will divide a locker room in a hurry. So that's really where it gets interesting.
Could you see Pittsburgh bring him in?
Dan, it's a name I've thrown out there many times. I think that is a correct marriage, because, I think we're getting down here to the end with Big Ben. I do. And the elbow thing would concern me. The way their backup quarterbacks played last year would concern me. And I think they're a team that's, a borderline Super Bowl caliber type football team. So you get Cam Newton in there for an insurance policy to Big Ben, let alone, hey, maybe this is Big Ben's last year or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the reins get handed to Cam after that. Makes sense, but I don't know. Do you think Big Ben's one of those guys that can handle that? That would be a question for me.
He couldn't handle Mason Rudolph being drafted by them.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, it's great to talk to you as always. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Chris.
Hey, thank you. Happy birthday,
Thank
Dan.
you,
I didn't
bud.
get to talk about it. I don't know how old you are. And how dare Todd wears a Texas A&M T-shirt when I come on? I mean, what the hell is that?
That was
What the
completely
hell is
unintentional. That was a little
Fritzy?
rude.
Well,
I just
a little
grabbed a
rude.
comfortable shirt from the closet there, but then I realized you're a Longhorn, and that's not cool.
I'm going to give you, you're going into a headlock the next time I see you. Just so you let you
but
know.
you know
And
what?
deservedly so.
You know what happened, Chris? As Todd gave the horns down, son.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I saw it when he
Okay.
came in. Whoa!
Oh, now it's going to be a headlock, and
I'm
I'm
just-
looking in there too. You're
I'm
getting
just
double
playing
whammy.
around. You know I love it.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, bud.
See you
Have a good
guys.
weekend. That's Chris Sims,
You
Pro
too.
Football
See you.
Talk Live. The final episode of The Last Dance airs on Sunday night, and it's created its fair share of controversy. A lot of people say it's too friendly to Michael Jordan, that it's sort of based on a true story, as the great Sam Smith, the author of The Jordan Rules, said on the show. Maybe too harsh on Jordan's enemies like Jerry Krause. But everything that's been going on, you could argue that this has been the most impactful sports documentary of all time. And I'm not saying the best. Ken Burns' epic baseball was spectacular. ESPN with the 30 for 30s. You had the two Escobars. You had OJ Made in America. That won the Oscar for Best Documentary. Hoop Dreams from 1994 was so good, it should have been considered for Best Picture, not Best Documentary. But The Last Dance has been viewed in a vacuum here because, you know, all of the nostalgia for Michael Jordan, all those years, it hit the perfect note with a sports-starved country, and it kind of reignited old debates. It started plenty of new ones. It was the right story at the right time. And like a lot of fans, we know how this ends. But we're going to be sad when it's over, and that'll be the final two episodes coming up on Sunday night. I think you're going to see a pretty emotional Michael Jordan coming up in the final episode. Dealing with his bodyguard, and he had lost his father, and he treated his bodyguard like he was his father figure. And it was really important for Michael to have this person around. I think you're going to see that softer side. The edges are going to be smoothed down for Michael Jordan coming up in the final episode. Go around the room. I'm going to start with you, Seton O'Connor.
I learned that Todd has a unique ability to just grab the most comfortable shirt off the top of the pile and have it somehow relate to a guest that we're having on. Because it's happened 3 times this week. It was like,
Really
I just
has.
grabbed what's on top of the pile. I didn't know it was going to be a rival.
Is Texas A&M a rival to Texas now?
Is that a real
was-
question?
I didn't even think of that.
Well, it was
Really?
to Chris Sims.
Yeah, they're in the same state, but I don't Texas A&M. I don't, just because they're in the same state doesn't make them some arch rivals. The Aggies and Longhorns have a long history.
I would rather that you admitted that you did it on purpose.
I did not do it
than
on
to
purpose.
act as if you don't know that
He
Texas.
somehow accidentally does it multiple times a week. Well, oh, what? This,
Are
The
Auburn-
other ones with the conference commissioners, I was
I know.
looking for things in the SEC and the Pac-12. For this, that was just a coincidence.
I don't know if Auburn and Alabama, are they rivals? I don't know.
Texas A&M and Texas, is there really some long history of those two?
Why don't you
Go
put it
on.
out there, Todd, and let people
Two-
respond to
I
it?
don't know. Two teams in the same state doesn't make it some kind of huge world sports rivalry.
Yes,
Well,
McLovin, what did you learn today?
I learned there was a movie called Best Little Whorehouse in Texas with Burt Reynolds and Lonnie Anderson, or no, Dolly Parton, all about the Texas A&M rivalry. That was a big hit that Todd didn't see.
I did not see that.
Paulie, what'd you learn today?
The Texas A&M football rivalry goes back to 1894.
Classic matchups. with
What we
huge ratings.
learned, brought to you by LegalZoom. They make it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Happy birthday.
No. No.
Just because I wasn't
Have
first.
a great
you see me-
weekend. Talk to you.
happy birthday.